back at the Rock, once again reunited for 175 laps on arguably one of the toughest racetracks you'll ever see. Green flag will fly with Georgia's Cody Pennell on the inside row. Season 4 champion and winner of this race, Thomas Andrews, on the outside of the front row. Green flag is out at the Rock. First lap underway, and it's Cody Pennell who leads. Seth Wansing in that second position. And Thomas Andrews in the outside lane in that number 2 TNT Dodge. It goes Ford, Chevrolet, Dodge, and Dodge. Last week's winner, Noah Belleville, a.k.a. Moldy. Now down to the inside line. The 41 Target Dodge goes to the inside of the Miller Lite Dodge. He gives it a shake, and the 41 sneaks to the inside. Jacob Prince, the defending champion, now up into 5th. Fastest lap on the second place driver, Seth Wansing, 24:44. Thomas Andrews sitting in 5th. Jacob Prince just behind him, and then Matt Seeger following up. Last year's rookie, now a sophomore in Thursday Night Thunder 16, gives it a bit of a wiggle. He's slow out the corner now. Watch the 29 of Briley Wright get a little bit closer. Sneaks inside. At the front of this one, the pride of Good Hope, Georgia. Cody Pennell leads the way. And behind him, the pride of Kansas City, Seth Wansing. How about Kevin Feemster? Has he gone for a spin? He has the number 7, Jim Beam Chevrolet. Spins it around. Caution number 1 is out. 5 laps into our 175-lap competition. Let's see what happened to Kev. Looks like Kyle St. John in the double 5 behind him, and the 38 of Chris Fleming just gets loose. Nowhere for the 7 to go. Fleming gets just almost flipped up into the air by somebody else. Have a look here at the 38. Oh, Fleming just gets loose, and that's Tom Sears, the 2-time champion. Nowhere for him to go, and he puts Chris Fleming up into the air. One more look. And watch for the 14 of Tom Sears. That green Celtics machine finished 3rd last season. Steven Oberstad also catching a piece of that one. Several drivers involved in that first caution. Good Hope's Cody Pennell still leads the way in his Haviland Ford Taurus. Seth Wansing in the second position. We're going to give them a chance to regroup. We're going to regroup ourselves, and we'll be back in just 60 seconds with more TNT Racing. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a minute. If you just tuned in, you have not missed a thing. 8 laps into this competition, we went around because Kevin Feemster got involved with the 38 of Chris Fleming. Watch this. Chris gets loose. Nowhere for Tom Sears to go. Josh Gaiman barely escapes. Steven Oberstadt gets a piece of that. Bahamian Elridge George gets out of that one as well. And good hopes. Cody Pennell in the 2-8 Haviland. Ford Taurus now lines up to the inside of Seth Wansing in the number 9. It'll be a Georgia, Missouri front row, and then another Missouri driver. Last week's winner and current points leader Noah Belleville in the 41 Target Dodge lines up to the last driver to ever win this race and the championship in the same season. Thomas Andrews in the number 2 will line up on the outside of row number 2. It's up to Cody Pennell to see just how quickly he gets off the line. They wait for the signal restart coming to lap number 9. And we're racing. And it's Cody Pennell out to the front. Once again, the 2-8 Haviland Chevrolet, Ford leads. It's Ford Dodge. 1-2, Seth Wansing on the inside, just trying to hold on. Defending champion Jacob Prince rounds out the top 5. And the pride of Greensburg, Kentucky now gets to the inside. Well, and he can make it stick on the double 9. How about Brooklyn's Nick Pressey, a winner in this summer's A-Rock Series, twice winning at Bristol and at, I think, Michigan. And every driver turning a personal best on that lap here. Colin McDonough in the 39. He sits just ahead of Tom Sears in that 14. There's the green car to the inside of Tommy Withers in the Viagra 6. McDonough sits behind Elridge George in that 40. The Bahamian gets loose. And I've got to correct myself. Kyle St. John, who last week I said was from Quebec because his flag... And the timing and scoring displays the nationality of each driver. And Kyle St. John's flag is the international flag. Me assuming, I totally said I was wrong, and I was wrong. I'll proudly admit that I was wrong. Kyle St. John, not from Quebec, as I guessed. Kyle St. John from Massachusetts. So that'll be the second driver that I know of from Massachusetts in this roster, Tom Sears being the other. And the Southampton driver. Looks like he used a fast repair to get that Supra fixed up. And there we go. One fast repair is all these drivers are going to get. I mean, you know the phrase, use it wisely, but I mean, really, it's how wise can you be when you have to use that fast repair? It's an obligation, but he's used it. He's still sitting in the top 12 positions. And it looks like sanity has prevailed among the drivers. Thomas Andrews now falling well behind the top 2. It's 1.5 seconds between third and the rest. Cody Pennell, one of the lasting wins that this driver's had in TNT is at Dover. My mind always goes to that. Season 4 at Dover. I think he lapped the field by more than somewhere between 1 and 2 laps. It was definitely more than 1. It was 1 and then some. And just an absolute dominance at Dover. And I think in his rookie season, in Season 4, he ended up winning 3 races. That Dover race may have been one of them. I'm not entirely sure, but a ridiculously talented guy. Making a part-time return to TNT. You know, it's not often that we see him on the racetrack, but here he is doing his thing, and he's battling with Noah Belleville for that first spot. The track facts predict that the drivers will go between 35 and 40 laps on one set of fuel. We'll have to see just how far they make it. 177. Relatively quick miles if they can stay caution-free. Cody Pennell intends on that being the case. 1.6 seconds behind New Jersey's Thomas Andrews. just trying to hold on to third while the defending champion Jacob Prince has his own problems to deal with behind him. I don't think I would go too far to call this man the Clinton Boyer of Thursday Night Thunder. And not necessarily for his driving skill, but in my mind, Clinton Boyer, or let's say Mark Martin, is that guy that everybody, you can agree that for the most part, everybody likes this person. There's nobody that dislikes Donald Ray in the TNT garage. And for me, I don't know. It just sticks out to me that Clinton Boyer was a fan favorite amongst a lot of fans and a lot of people in the pits, and Donald Ray, definitely not only a fan favorite in TNT, but one of the, you could say, the OGs of ARCs. He's been with us since day one, and still puts up a good fight. He's going to be turning 76 years old this Friday. He sits behind Nick Pressey in that 94, and the Brooklyn Pilot running in 8th. Donald Ray from Rockwall, Texas, running in 9th, and he's going to run alongside the wall, and the geriatric driver just gets a little bit of a scrape on the right-hand side. Nothing he can't handle going into his 87th birthday. Donald Ray, the oldest sim racer on the service. Got to give it up to him. Got to give it up to Cody Pennell, still leading in that 2-8. And you got to think, what's Noah Belleville's game at this point? Because is he only just going to follow behind Cody's tracks, wait for that pit stop? If I'm Noah Belleville, that's what I'm doing. I'm content keeping up with Cody Pennell, because Pennell is that wild card. And it's, with the way that the skill grows in iRacing, sometimes it's almost not impossible, but it's incredibly difficult to stay on top of the game when you race part-time. But not Cody Pennell. It's like riding a bike again. He knows what he's doing, and Noah Belleville knows that Cody Pennell knows what he's doing. So between these two, over the last 5 laps, you can see that it hasn't been a consistent pull away from Cody Pennell. Noah Belleville sometimes gaining a 10th. That last time he lost a couple of tenths there. And you can see the same with Jacob Prince. Although Prince now into 3rd, Thomas Andrews, who was in 3rd, now down to 7th. And 25 laps into this race, you could be seeing the real-time effects of the tires starting to wear away. So now the game becomes not only who can be the fastest, but who can manage their tires best. Does the Georgian remember that skill, or will last week's winner from Missouri show him, Cody Pennell, a win for the 2nd week in a row? Thomas Andrews, Season 4 champion, behind the sophomore Matt Seeger, while Nick Pressey and Donald Ray continue to battle. At the back, one of the drivers involved in that first crash, Josh Gaiman. He barely escaped. This is Fleming in the 38. Oh, he did make contact with Kyle St. John in the double 5. He was a part of that accident. But, you know, no harm, no foul. Barely a scratch on the 6-1, and he sits in the 14th position. Tristan Catania. New colors for the 48 tonight. Well, I don't know if it's new. You know, I don't know all the paint schemes that he's run, but here's the 48. Bass Pro Shops machine. Tanner Lockhart's in the chat. And you know, Tanner, I was genuinely just thinking about you today because I saw the Tigers had played the Cubs. And I saw that the Cubs won 10-6. I think I know you're a White Sox fan as well. But I think we always talked about Wrigley Field, and we both have a huge admiration for Wrigley Field. I don't know where they played today, but for some reason, I saw Chicago baseball, and I thought about you. My Tigers got smoked 10-2. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to the whole family. Send my love, man. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming out. The Bahamian, and I mean the Bahamian, from Nassau, in the Bahamas, in the Caribbean, Elridge George, in the number 40 machine. He sits in position 13th, just ahead of Josh Gaiman. Further on back, Steven Oberstadt trying to give Chris Fleming a good run for his money. And the 51 of Ryan Lindemann running a couple laps off the pace, but he's hoping to gain that back. The 51 TranStar diesel machine, a Floridian, running his home, well, one of his home race. I guess you could say Daytona's his home race, but we ran in his home state last week. How about that? The TranStar machine, that awesome 51 color there. You know what? If you asked me now, I couldn't tell you the paint scheme that this is pays homage to. But it is, I think, a modified and a late model stock driver. I'm not sure. But anyway, Ryan Lindemann decides to get into the wall, and Chris Fleming decides to get into him. And Lindemann gets well off turn number 2, smokes that race car up against the wall. Ryan Lindemann now down the old defunct pit straight down the back. And the 51, not having a great time there. Probably just jinxed him, too. But let's see if we can go back and see what happened. And possibly something going on with Tristan Catania in the 48. Lindemann's now going to just crawl to the pits here, and you feel for him. Let's see if we can go back a couple of laps here. Lindemann's already gone at this point. Let's back it up. He gets into the wall, and from there it just goes on. It doesn't help that Chris Fleming gives him a little bit of a tag, but watch this. Loose out of turn number 2, just barely avoids making contact with the 38 and the double 8. And Lindemann's going to get the race car repaired. Meanwhile, back at the front, Noah Belleville blinks as his legendary internet starts playing up again. Cody Pennell still leads by 0.3 of a second. And 7th through 10th just got a lot scarier. Thomas Andrews in that 7th position, ahead of Tom Sears and Nick Pressey, who are dueling side by side. Donald Ray guards the back end of the top 10, and sophomore Matt Seeger barely holding on to it all on board. Three wide down the front straight at Rockingham, by the way. Didn't know you could do that. Oh, Seeger gets loose out of the corner from Donald Ray's point of view. And the beat goes on for 7th through 10th. Look at that. This is where you have to trust the tires and each other. Will they go 3 wide down the front straight again? Nick Pressey just getting squeezed out of the middle. 2:14.94, running 6th, 7th, and 8th. That is cool. Riley Wright in the 2.9 sits in the 4th spot behind Season 8 champion Jacob Prince, 2.7 seconds behind the top 2. And Jacob Prince is no spring chicken. This is... Don't be surprised if he's just conserving the tires in this first stint. 40 laps gone, and so far no green flag pit stops. Although we did have that caution, so do expect drivers to come in right around this time, possibly longer, just depending on how much they are trying to save. Back to this melee here. Pressey now sitting in 6th. Tom Sears to his inside Tom Andrews in the number 2, just trying to avoid the wall, and Matt Seeger now lining himself up. Is Donald Ray coming down into the pits? He hits the apron hard. Tony the Tiger will come on down for some tires, fuel, and everything else. The Texan is in. Pressure now relieved on the rest of the competition. Well, maybe not on Matt Seeger or Nick Pressey. Both drivers making hard contact with the wall, and the New York driver now has a scratch on the right front side. Tom Sears now coming up behind him. And Cody Pennell. Look at that. Who's ahead of him? Was that Gavin Hudspeth just holding up the 2.8? Let's go back one move here. The 83 of Gavin Hudspeth really coming high. Right ahead of the leaders out of pit road. Not sure what the move was there. And one more look. Here he is ahead of the leaders. And he looks like he just might forget where he is at the time. I'm not sure. He might be watching the 41, not the 28. Luckily, they made no contact there. Hudspeth just getting away with that one. And Cody Pennell, likewise, in that 2.8. Briley right now in second as Noah Belleville and Jacob Prince decide to come down into the pit road. Prince brings his Coors machine on down, and Cody Pennell may do the same. Briley right in the 2.9. Cody Pennell in the 2.8. Here comes the Georgian. Don't speed, Cody. Briley Wright will also come down, and Seth Wansing will stay out. He will become new leader in the blue number 9. If saving fuel is the name of the game, this is the guy you want on your team. The Boston Celtics Toyota Supra now sits in the second position. And if a caution comes out now, Tom Sears is sitting pretty. And it has happened before. It shall happen again. But Sears also has the speed to make up for any time lost in the pits. You saw he almost lost the back end of the race car coming out of the corner. 4.5 seconds, the gap between first and second. Josh Gaiman pitted under that first caution. He's now coming up behind Nick Pressey for third. Noah Belleville now out of the pits. He pitted on lap 45. And he's going to put in a blistering lap on fresh tires. Expect to see a fastest lap on this second green flag run. 24:29 and 24:44. No, I'm sorry, 25:80, excuse me. That's his best time, not his last time. Noah Belleville, 24:54 last time around. Seth Wansing, 25:80. Almost 1.5 seconds. The difference between what Wansing is putting up on the clock and what Belleville's putting up on the clock. So now hoping for a yellow. Tom Sears sitting in the third spot, 3/4 of a second behind Josh Gaiman. And where, oh where, is Cody Pennell? He sits in 14th, one lap off the pace. Did he speed? Doesn't look like he did. His pit... Well, last time around, his pit lane time was 16.12 seconds. I'm not sure. Was that... We got to ask him. Something went wrong there. Leader Seth Wansing is in. Josh Gaiman will now take over the race lead. Tom Sears coming down from the third position. Tommy Withers from the great state of Virginia now ducks down into the pit lane. Stephen Oberstadt will be the new leader in the double 8 car. Now it's Indiana's Kevin Feemster rising through the ranks. He pitted on lap number 6. Gavin Hudspeth now into 9th. He pitted on lap number 6. 52 laps underway. Josh Gaiman still leads. One caution if you just tuned in. Cody Pennell. One lap off the pace behind Josh Gaiman, but not looking to unlap himself. So possibly not a penalty at all for Cody Pennell, but maybe just a really slow pit. Perhaps some damage he needed to fix as well. Who knows? But he's back on track in the Davey Allison liveried 28. Kevin Feemster decides he's going to come into the pits. Gaiman in the lead. I incorrectly said Steven Oberstadt would go to the lead. That was wrong. Elrich George has not pitted at all. Looking to go more than 55 laps on one tank of fuel. He sits in third. If a caution comes out, can you imagine how that gamble would pay off? George now in fourth. And really, there's nothing left for him but to hope for that yellow. But it could happen. And it won't this time. Elrich George will come down into the pits. Right under 40 miles an hour. And car number 40 comes in. Gavin Hudspeth comes in behind him all the way out to lap 55. Drivers able to go approximately 49 laps on one tank of fuel. Gavin Hudspeth going even more now. This is his 50th lap coming up to this fuel run. And he will go 50 laps on one tank of fuel. Noah Belleville 18 seconds behind Josh Gaiman. Really interested to see how this one plays out for him. Didn't I tell you we were going to have a fastest lap as Josh Gaiman comes into the pits? It's Seth Wansing, the pride of Kansas City, 24-27, new fastest lap today. And Thomas Andrews just ahead in that 6th position. Briley Wright sitting in 5th. And at the front, it will soon be Noah Belleville in the lead. Jacob Prince in 2nd. And I don't know what kind of penalties I was talking about. Maybe just not a very efficient attack of pit lane, because Cody Pennell will now sit in 3rd, 2 seconds behind Noah Belleville. But Jacob Prince has bigger things to worry about, because that 2.8 car is quick. Elrich George kindly makes room for the 28 of Cody Pennell. Seth Wansing, 0.3 of a second behind Thomas Andrews, and further on back, Tom Sears now getting close to Colin McDonough. That's going to be the battle for the 10th position. Belleville in 1st, Prince in 2nd. This is the battle, including Cody Pennell. Gaiman now coming up under the 2.8 of Cody Pennell. Gaiman driving it as hard as he can in that 61. Last time around, a personal best of 24.7 seconds. This time, 24.69. Gaiman keeps on getting quicker. Last time around, Cody Pennell, 24.84. Gaiman, much quicker than the competition. Will Prince make way? The 61. Now trying to scythe through this competition. Gaiman currently finds himself in the 10th position, 1 lap off the pace. Colin McDonough sitting in 9th. Up 10 places from where he started. You got to give it up to him. He pitted on lap 49. Kind of been the dark horse, the sleeper, if you will. Doing all right there in that 3.9 car. Nick Pressey in the 94. Coming up behind Donald Ray in that number 5. Belleville in the 41, still leading by 2.7 seconds. Credit to Jacob Prince. I said Cody Pennell was coming, and Cody Pennell has stayed stagnant in the Haviland. Forward as the 99 gives it a big shake. Josh Gaiman getting right up behind him. This is not for position, mind you. This here is the battle for position between the 99 and the 28. Gaiman in the 61 trying to get to the inside, desperately trying to unlap himself. He sneaks ahead of the double 9, and now Cody Pennell is at the door. He puts 2 tires on the yellow line, and the double 9 of Jacob Prince gives the top side, and Pennell will tuck in behind the Coors machine. You saw Pennell gave it a huge shake, and now he's going to have to make all that progress up again. Cody Pennell in the 2.8. Donald Ray up ahead. Tom Sears in the 14. .68 laps complete at the Rockingham Speedway, and if you just tuned in, only one caution to speak of at the front of this one. The pride of DeSoto, Missouri. Noah Belleville leads this race. Jacob Prince 1 second ahead of third place Cody Pennell, while Belleville runs out to a 3 1/3 second lead. You know, we give him a lot of crap because he's missed out on a championship so many times, and I think this year we finally pushed him over the edge. He ends up winning last week by a hefty margin. He's already, almost 4 seconds ahead into this second green flag stint. He's driving like a man possessed, and I think finally, after enough teasing him about part-time, Noah part-time Belleville has decided he's really going to try to win this championship. But we're still with more than 100 laps to go. And speaking of TNT champions, somewhere out there in the middle of San Diego, Aiden Norman says hello. What's going on, Aiden? Happy to have you, buddy. Send my love to Miss Moneypenny. Wonder how she's doing as well. And Moldy's grandma. I know this sounds like jokes, but no, Moldy's grandma and whatever Miss Moneypenny is to Aiden. I don't know this yet. Because I keep forgetting. I know Aiden's told me, but I just don't know. Aiden, do inform me. But these are real, genuine people that have become fans of these sim racers. And in turn, folks that show up and make the chat what it is. Tom Sears with the inside line on Nick Pressey. That's the battle for the 6th position. Quickly approaching 100 to go, and we've discovered here that drivers are able to go approximately 40 to 50 laps on one fuel run, not, as I estimated, up to 40 laps. And Aiden's mom. No, not been tuning in just yet, but that's okay. No worries there. Send my love. Tell her I said hi. Noah Belleville still has fans out there. I think I remember one time Noah's whole family actually ended up getting in the chat and cheering for him one race. Aiden says he's going to berate his mother for not tuning into my stream. Aiden, no. No. Colin McDonough behind Donald Ray, a quarter of a second there. Josh Gaiman in the 10th position. Now trying to get up to Colin McDonough. He's unlapped himself. And Tommy Withers, now the lucky dog. If the caution comes out, the Virginian in the Viagra Ford gets his lap back. He's up 10 places from where he started. Tom Sears up 13. Cody Pennell now 1 second behind Jacob Prince. And now you start to think, well, what happened to the 28 on that last green flag stint? Jacob Prince now 9/10 and closing ahead of Cody Pennell. Is Pennell trying to save his tires on this most recent run? Did he go too hard? Let's take a look at those stint lengths. Noah Belleville, 45 laps. Jacob Prince, 45 laps. Nick Pressey, 47. For some reason, it says Tom Sears has gone 75 laps on a tank of gas. I genuinely do not believe that. I think something's messed up with the timing and scoring. Tom Sears pitted on lap number 50, so no, he's only gone 27 laps. Josh Gaiman, he pitted under the first caution. He then went 51 laps on a tank of fuel. Unbelievable. So, I mean, I'm curious now. Really, genuinely curious to see what's going to happen. Further on back, Tom Sears now trying to get around Nick Pressey for 6th. Mr. McDonough in the 39 behind Donald Ray in that number 5. And the drivers spreading out, but still, just with pit stops looming around that corner. I mean, we are approximately 20 laps from this next cycle beginning. Pressey on the top side. Sears on the bottom side. This for the 6th spot. Nick Pressey just makes his way to the outside. Tom Sears still giving him the fight. Further on back, Matt Seeger and Gavin Hudspeth, they're within 0.8 of a second to each other. Seeger looks like he's got more than just a scratch. He's got a full-on dent on the right-hand side of that race car. Take a look at the right quarter panel when he comes around. Yeah, something happened there. Possibly on pit road, possibly elsewhere. Kevin Feemster in the 7. Feemster running in the 17th position. Nick Pressey in that 94. Running in the 6th spot. Josh Gaiman wants to take that away from him. How long are the tires going to last on this 61? Really interested here. Josh Gaiman pitting on lap 56. So if he goes another 50 laps, he'll make it to 106. He's got another 24 laps on these tires. But the way he's been driving suggests otherwise. Sears in that 14, just closing the gap. Aiden, how's San Diego? How's everything out there? Let me know. And who do you got, honestly, besides Noah Belleville? If there's anybody that can take it to Noah Belleville thus far, 1.7 seconds is the gap. Belleville sits in 1st. Jacob Prince sits in the 2nd spot. Briley Wright in the 4th position. And I know we've only had one race, but Briley Wright did not have a what we would call fantastic homestead. 10th in the standings. But again, with it only being one race, Briley only finds himself 14 points behind the guy currently leading this race. This 4th place position is what Briley's going to need to climb through these points. And looking at the next 2 races this season, next week, we take these cars to somewhere that's a bit faster. We're going to go to the Kansas Speedway. And then 2 weeks after that, Chicagoland. A couple of really fast racetracks. Aiden Norman says Southern California. A lot of rich people. Kind of scary. The West Coast is beautiful. I'm actually headed to Los Angeles here shortly as well. About 3 hours north of San Diego-ish. Aiden says he would bet on the current race leader, Noah Belleville, even though he always makes bad financial decisions. I mean, hey, sometimes you get lucky on a bad financial decision. So I guess bet all your money on Noah Belleville, and we'll see what happens. If you got somebody in the race, if you're cheering for someone in the chat, let them know. Put their name down there, make a seance. I have no idea. Root for them. Do something. Donald Ray, he's making some noise of his own. 24.54 for the man from Rockwall, Texas. And he's got a dent on the front of that Tony the Tiger number 5. He's going to get loose out of turn number 4. And maybe 3 more corners until he implodes. I got no idea. Christian in the chat cheering for the number 6 of Tommy Withers. And the Virginian driver up 11 places from where he started. He sits in 10th right now, pitting on lap 50. Jacob Prince and Briley Wright are in. The 99, the 29, they're on the racetrack a lot sooner than I personally would have expected, but this is the start of green flag pit stops. And now Cody Pennell will pit early as well, approximately 40-some-odd laps, coming in at an outrageous rate of speed. He came in way too hot, and he might have just sped. If he came in not speeding, I will be astonished, but he was flying into pit road. Josh Gaiman pitted on lap 56. He's got about another 16 laps, we estimate, before he has to come in again. But I'm really interested to see what's going to happen to his lap times as Christian now follows Rick James TV, triggering the 200 miles a damn hour sound. Aiden Norman said Briley won this race 2 seasons ago with a different strategy, and we were actually just talking, Aiden, that the last 3 winners of this race have not gone on to win the championship. Noah Belleville, who is desperately looking for that first TNT championship, leading this race as of before these green flag pit stops, making a great case to win this, but again, the winner of this race has not gone on to win the title in the past 3 attempts. The last guy to do it, Thomas Andrews, season 4. Josh Gaiman still leading under the green flag pit stop cycle. Tom Sears in the 4 comes on down. And where is Cody Pennell? Doesn't look like he might have sped that last time through. I think he just got in. New purple lap. Defending champion Jacob Prince, fastest on the board. 24-22 for the 99 of Jacob Prince. Aiden Norman giving Noah Belleville the same jokes that we've been giving him his entire TNT career. He's not showing up for the entire season, which we give him a lot of stick about, because had Noah Belleville shown up for the entire Thursday Night Thunder season, the championship might have played out entirely differently. He leads after winning the season opener at Homestead last week. What has he got tonight? Kansas and Chicagoland over the next 3 weeks of Thursday Night Thunder. Jacob Prince, 24-14. The South Carolinian gets quicker, and he says, hold on, Belleville. You're not going to have this one by yourself. 2 seconds and counting. Pressey is in, and the Brooklyn driver will relinquish his top 10 position. Tristan Catania has not pitted since lap 49, and the Bass Pro Chevrolet is up next on the block. Josh Gaiman again, expecting him to come down within the next 10 laps, which will hand the lead back to Noah Belleville. And over the last 5 laps, Josh Gaiman has been just slower to the tune of 1.1 seconds and then some. See what the clock says on the bottom of your screen. This time, 1.2 seconds. Belleville continues to gain time exponentially on Josh Gaiman. And Elrich George almost loses the race car. He's got to slam on the brakes and really keep it together. He sits in 18th. Behind him, defending champion, hopeful race winner, Jacob Prince, Donald Ray, Tom Andrews. All behind the Bahamian. Get around him safely. 3 wide into turn number 1. Big contact between the 2 Dodges. Watch this. Oh, he just bounces off that yellow line, and they all got lucky. Continuing to drag race down that back straightaway. That was scary. Elridge George running in 18th. There goes Cody Pennell around him, running in 4th. Another green flag cycle comes around, and another deficit on the clock. Cody Pennell now running 5.6 seconds behind Jacob Prince, and he's got heavy damage on the right front of that race car. Is he saving his fast repair, or is he not attacking the pit lane as well as he should be? Big questions for car 28. Tom Sears now wrapped up in that feud between Thomas Andrews and Donald Ray. Andrews in 7th, Donald Ray in 9th. Tommy Withers has gone around the 6 car, motionless at a turn number 2. He spins the Viagra Taurus around. We keep it green and clean. Big dent for the 6. We'll see what happened to Withers. His brother Christian in the chat cheering him on. Oh, the 40 of Elridge George came down on the 6. Interesting. No caution there, but, oh, man, Elridge George came down out of nowhere. Watch this. No contact with Briley Wright. George just comes down hard on the 6 in the serious dodge. Gets into the Viagra Ford. No caution thrown. Christian in the chat saying no surprise there. Josh Gaiman in the 6-1. Noah Belleville in the 4-1. They are 8 1/2 seconds apart. And the 38 and the 99 almost making contact. That's Chris Fleming getting away with it there. On board with Belleville in the 41. Clear skies. Belleville 6.7 seconds behind, and here comes Gaiman. Belleville will now take the lead with 70 laps to go. Josh Gaiman will have at least, well, everybody will have one more pit stop before the end of this race, but given his cycles, Josh Gaiman is very off cycle right now. He's going to need to pit with 20 laps remaining. Josh DeGennaro asking if Lindo is racing, and Ryan Lindemann looks like he's dropped out of this one. He was in the 51 car, and it looks like after 55 laps, Ryan Lindemann decided to call it quits. Seth Wansing, Cody Riggs also out of this race. Kyle St. John from Massachusetts also out of this race. Shout out Dark Abyss in the chat. How you doing? Elridge George currently 6 laps off the pace, running in 18th. And 107 laps underway. Noah Belleville, your race leader, and that last green flag cycle now complete. 2.2 seconds behind from the Missouri driver is the South Carolinian driver, Jacob Prince, and the native from Georgia, Cody Pennell, who is getting beat up on these green flag pit stop cycles. He's now 6 seconds behind, putting in identical lap times to the leaders. But the last green flag cycle, he lost seconds. This previous green flag pit stop cycle, he lost a few seconds. 2 seconds ahead of Briley Wright, but definitely pit road is where Cody Pennell's getting, taken advantage of. Now, the danger becomes if he tries to make up for that, he could end up getting himself a pit road speeding penalty, which will just obliterate his chances of a podium. However, Cody being the part-time driver, he might be going for wins. He may not care about the podium. It may be worth the risk to him. Really interesting to see what this next round of pit stops will have for Cody Pennell. But he's not out of it yet. Even if the caution comes out, he's going to be right back up to the leaders. Either a late race caution, let's say with 10 laps to go, or a caution right now. This is going to be really interesting. Gaiman pits on lap 105. He's going to have to come in approximately on lap number 50. Let's bring out the pit stop stint length times again. 51 laps that first time. 48 laps this second time. Not necessarily on par with the leaders, but certainly off-cycle with the leaders. And lots of love from Josh DeGennaro. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you. And Cody Pennell gets into the wall, and this could be what we're talking about, where he's pushing, trying to make up for this. He's also got damage on the 28. He could be trying to nurse the damage on that 28. There's no way to tell. And shout out Josh, and thank you so much for the love. And I tell you what, if you like what you see, share the link. Tell other people we've got some excellent sim racing here. We're only in round 2 of 16 in Thursday Night Thunder. The next 2 weeks of racing, well, the next 2 races, the next 3 weeks of racing will be Kansas. Hopefully Cody Pennell will stay off the wall there. And then Chicago 2 weeks from then. Gavin Hudspeth in the 38 going around. Thomas Andrews going by. And then this cluster of leaders, well, this cluster of cars, which includes the race leader, Noah Belleville. 4 cars for him to put a lap down. And he's got to be careful coming around here. .41 behind the 38. Look at him trying to weave his way by like he's flying through traffic. Dark Abyss saying, good strategy by Tom Sears. And the 2-time champion is up into the top 5 as Elridge George now is glued to the wall. He comes down, luckily, not in front of anybody this time. And shout out to the 40. He is trying his absolute best to stay in this race. And he's giving it everything he's got. You've got to love that fight. You can't hate a guy that keeps on trying. You've got to love that fighting spirit. Shout out Elridge George. Shout out to everybody in the Bahamas. Sears up 15 places from where he started. Expect him to come down with approximately 30 laps to go. Side by side with Jacob Prince. However, with these green flag cycles, Noah Belleville is putting an absolute masterclass on this field where the top 4 are all on the lead lap. Then there's Tristan Catania who's loose off of turn number 4. Looks like he went by himself. Oh, be careful coming back on. Don't make any contact. There's the 94 of Pressy. Look at the 7 of Kevin Feemster. Just avoids Tristan Catania. Let's see what happened to him. Oh, by this time, he's already loose. Let's back it up a bit. And my producer's putting in some much-needed feedback. Let's go to Philip the Cat for some insight. Philip, what do you think happened to the 48? And how do you think he's going to recover from this mistake? Wise words from Philip the Cat. Not just a producer on Rick James TV, but probably the smartest mind in the racing world. And he continues to give his much-needed feedback in the background. Noah Belleville still at the front of this race. Jacob Prince in the 2nd position. 4 seconds behind the race leader. And then 5 3/4 seconds behind him, Cody Pennell. Riley Wright hunting for that 3rd position. The Kentucky pilot gets even closer. And the Bluegrass Bandit within 1 second to the podium. Drivers about halfway through their green flag pit stops. Tommy Withers may have crashed again. The number 6 car has indeed crashed again. Aiden Norman stating the obvious. Philip does have the best NASCAR knowledge. He's known nothing but racing since his birth. And I have to agree with you there. Just when it comes to racing knowledge in general, just the history, the essence, and just he captures every moment in such beautiful dictation. Philip genuinely, with wise words when it comes to racing. Oh, and contact there between the 7 and the 6. That's the second time Tommy Withers making contact with a driver out of turn number 1. And no caution yet again. Let's see what happened the first time. This is Elridge George and Tommy Withers. 40 comes right down onto the 6 car. And 20 laps later, minor contact between the 7 and the 6. Withers goes around. Colin McDonough just went off the racetrack. And Tristan Catania. McDonough gets loose off of turn number 4, loses control. And Catania again getting loose off of turn number 4. That's the second time in a couple of laps. Emily asking what the guy next to me said here. Let's see. Let's see if we can reach him for some comment. Just a moment. Talking about my my broadcast producer, Philip, and then my other broadcast producer, Sebastian, patiently watching on as we broadcast this race. Cody Pennell sits in third. Briley Wright is right behind him. We're going to bring our producers here just for a quick word, and then we'll get back to this racing. Back to more racing here. We've reached our producers for comments. Sebastian, that move there with Tommy Withers there, Justin Kevin Feemster making contact. What do you think happened? And do you think they're going to recover from this move after such a disastrous piece of contact? Silence there, but then just deafening truth from one of our producers, Sebastian, and then our other producer, Philip, just nowhere for comment, beside himself after that move. But this racing here between Pennell and Wright actually getting really good. Third place racing getting close, and then Nick Pressey and Donald Ray also getting close there. Now Tom Sears involved, 6th and 7th going at it. And the Peanut Gallery, as they've now become, making comments out of the back. Sebastian, looking at this battle between the 94 and the 14, where do you think Pressey's going to end up at the end of this race? And do you think he's going to have the tires to get there? He's probably going to have the tires there. All right. ...132 laps of the 175 laps underway from the Rockingham Speedway. Thank you so much to Sebastian and Philip. Not just producers, but also guests on Rick James TV. Aiden, Emily, and Dark Abyss also agreeing here that Sebastian far more talkative than his other counterpart. Cody Pennell is in, though. Big gamble here. 2-8 is in. Final pit stop of the race. He's going to have almost no more fuel when he comes to the end of this one. comes down to a halt, and this broadcast has been completely derailed by the other two members of this team who have now gotten tangled in my cables and nearly unplugged this entire thing from functioning. But anyway, never mind the catch. Tom Sears is leading under this green flag pit stop cycle. Noah Belleville just went purple, 24.06 seconds. And he's got a 6.5 second gap on Jacob Prince through this pit stop cycle. If the caution doesn't come out, Noah Belleville is poised to win this race by a landslide. Nick Pressey, 0.4 of a second behind Tom Sears. This is the battle for the lead, approaching 40 laps to go. Sebastian weighing his 2 cents on this battle. Side by side, Pressey gets to the inside of Tom Sears out of the fourth corner. 5/100ths of a second was the gap at the line. Pressey trying to give no room to the 14 on the inside. Both of these cars still have to pit, and they're just throwing everything. Throwing absolutely everything to the win. Josh Gaiman, 2 laps ago with an incident as Tom Sears comes in. Let's see what happened to the 61. He spins in turn number 3, and Donald Ray just barely avoids Gaiman, but what a save by the 61. Dark Abyss talking about the wide groove at Rockingham. Thomas Andrews just went green, 24.43 for the New Jersey pilot. Donald Ray also going green, 24.25 seconds. Gaiman in 8th after that spin. He's holding on to it. Tom Sears up 13 places from where he started. He just pitted on lap 136. He's good to go to the end. Sears in 7th, Oberstadt in 6th. Cody Pennell in 5th, 2 seconds off of Briley Wright in the 4th position, and another round of green flag cycles pushes Pennell further down the order, and pit stops the part-timers' enemy tonight. All up 3 places from where they started, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. And it's Noah Belleville's race to lose, approaching 30 laps to go. We'll see just what the 41 has for the rest of the competition. Sebastian, your thoughts on Noah Belleville? I can no longer get my producer to speak. Aiden Norman has to bid adieu, and he's talking about finishing strong. Well, let's hope that Noah Belleville finishes the race strong. Pilot 41, now 7 1/3 seconds ahead of Jacob Prince. And you've got to think the race for first is almost over now. This is and I hate to use the M word, but this is a Max Verstappen kind of performance. Just dominating, head and shoulders above the rest. Nick Pressey is in. Tristan Catania with heavy damage as the 48 crashed again. Spun a couple times out of turn number 4. What happens here? Super loose out of turn number 4, and oh man. Huge wreck for Catania. On board. Just gets loose out of 4. Watch the hands. pointed one direction, and there is no saving it. Man, that's a hard hit. Catania running in 15th, and now a wrecked race car coming down into the pits. He used his fast repair. That's nice for him. Josh Gaiman on the outside. This not for position. Gaiman running in 7th. Noah Belleville leading this race with Jacob Prince behind him in the double 9 to the tune of 7.5 seconds. 4 cars left on the lead lap. Cody Pennell is the 4th of those cars. Steven Oberstadt pitted on lap 101. He's got one more pit stop coming. Gavin Hudspeth pitted on 105. He's running in 11th. He has one more pit stop coming. Tommy Withers pitting on lap 118. He finds himself 4 laps off the pace. He can get up to 11th where Gavin Hudspeth is. It's only 6 seconds between them, and they both have that pit stop on the horizon. A caution just may change things. But time is running out. We're inside the final 30 laps of racing. There is no more pit stops coming for the race leaders. We'll just have to see where all this falls through. "25 laps to go this time by for Noah Belleville. Producer Sebastian faithfully sitting here awaiting more treats. Putting in his insight on this race, and if only I could get him to give some more insight. Sebastian, do you want to give any more opinions on how this race is developing? Silence from the four-legged producer, but no worries. We'll continue. Jacob Prince, 7.4 seconds behind Noah Belleville. Briley Wright rolling in 3rd, and Cody Pennell in that 4th spot, just a quarter of a second behind the 2.9. No more pit stops for Pennell and Wright, and this is the battle for 3rd. Briley's in big trouble if he doesn't hold on to that race car, but Cody Pennell has shown mistakes. He's shown that he can lose the race car up into the turn 2 and the turn 4 wall. What's he got this time? The 2.9 shows the low side. The damage 6 of Tommy Withers down on the apron gives them plenty of room to race. And the 2.8 of Cody Pennell just can't make it stick. They're both in the wall. Here comes Tom Sears around the both of them. Through goes Sears and the number 14 car. Still that lucky dog. If the caution comes out late in this race, he gets his lap back. He then becomes part of this battle for what will be the win. Briley Wright just holding on to 3rd place after making contact with the wall. And same goes for Cody Pennell in 4th. Side by side down that front straight. Car 28 trying to make it stick in 3rd. Briley Wright has other plans for him. 18 laps to go next time by, and this second race at the Rock has gone mostly caution-free. Just one yellow after some incidental contact between a couple of race cars. Noah Belleville being the class of the field. But then these two. Briley Wright in the hunt for a championship. Cody Pennell has not committed himself to a full-time season, but still possible that he could just contend for some wins. And there's still plenty of time for a caution to come out. If a yellow comes out, Cody Pennell will be contending for this race win. Mark my words, he's got to hold on to the race car, though. And he saved it on the left side. He almost lost it on the right side. 17 to go next time by for Georgia's Cody Pennell. Jake Prince running in second, kind of in no man's land, just either waiting for this race to be over or waiting for some competition to come up. Nick Pressey wants to give Josh Gaiman some competition. Look at Pressey. He pitted on lap 142, Gaiman pitting on lap 133. 9 laps the difference between their tires. Gaiman looks like he might be all over the place. And Nick Pressey just trying to edge Josh Gaiman into turn number 1. Pressey slides way up the racetrack using all of his race car. And Josh Gaiman holds on to his machine for now. This is for 6th place. And if they both mess up, Donald Ray is within striking distance. Back to the battle for 3rd. Briley Wright just with the edge over Cody Pennell. 14 to go this time by. What moves does he have? What do you have left is the good question. What do you have left to do when you know the guy in front of you knows almost all your tricks? He gets closer. That is the gap. 1/10 and counting. Clear sailing behind. Nick Pressey. Not even on the same lap, and Cody Pennell gets into the wall. Not what he needs, coming to 10 laps to go. Still keeps it moving. I mean, there's no reason why he can't get a podium. Two tenths. And almost nothing left. Don't forget, next week, the last race before a break, Kansas Speedway. They will go even faster. They will go even wider. There'll be more slingshot racing between them. Briley Wright's in the wall. Cody Pennell almost gets turned around, and Nick Pressey nearly becomes a casualty. Tommy Withers behind him. Can you imagine if Tommy Withers gets collected for the 3rd time in the second half of a race? That'd be something. Nine at the line, and 8 more laps remaining after this. This cluster of 4 cars just trying not to wreck each other. Briley Wright trying to stay in 3rd. Cody Pennell trying to come up behind him. And the 2-8 Haviland Ford. He can line him up for 1, maybe 2 more moves. And he's got to worry about Nick Pressey as well. Josh Gaiman's only 2 seconds behind him. Pressey has to get a move on. Pennell has to turn the screw. He's got to squeeze some pressure onto third, and Cody Pennell's going to climb the wall. He's going to throw away his chance at finishing on the podium. Heavy contact in turn number 2, and you cannot fault the man for trying. 1.8 seconds the gap now, 6 to go this time by. Elrich George on the inside. He's going to stay out of everybody's way. And third place may not be settled yet. I clearly have no idea what I'm talking about because Cody Pennell has just rocketed back up to Briley Wright. 7/10 is the gap between these two drivers. Thomas Andrews trying to hold on to that 10th position. Steven Oberstad is 1.6 seconds ahead of him. And Donald Ray sits in 8th, although they are 1 lap apart. Race leader Noah Belleville on an island by himself. We were talking to Aiden Norman earlier today, and Aiden Norman just has, when he was racing, seasons 4, 5, and, no, what is it, 5, 6, and 7. Aiden just had unparalleled dominance. Broke records left and right, won 3 consecutive championships. You'd never seen anything like it. Noah Belleville is winning in margins that large. 11 seconds with 3 laps to go. This, if he manages to cross the line without crashing here, this will be his 2nd win consecutively, by the way. So his won the season opener last week at Homestead, winning this race right here. I believe he's won a Thursday Night Thunder race at Kansas before. Noah Belleville planting his flag firmly in the ground, and he says, I want this title. Come and get it. The defending champion, Jacob Prince, 9 1/3 seconds behind with the white flag out next time by. What could the South Carolinian be thinking about his championship hopes after today? Nick Pressey and Tom Sears will battle to the very, very end of this race. They're going to put on a show. 1 more mile for Noah Belleville. He'll win this race. It'll be his 2nd straight. He'll take a massive lead in the points. Tom Sears a ½ second behind Nick Pressey. Briley Wright will be able to hold on for the 3rd position. Tommy Withers will slide right up in front of Tom Sears as the white flag waves for the both of them. Noah Belleville will come off turn number 4. He will win in dominant fashion at The Rock. Tom Sears 0.8 seconds behind Nick Pressey. It's going to take a slide and then some from the 94. He might just have to get into the wall, but he won't. Nick Pressey will hold on to that car. He will hold on to that top 5 finish. And the Brooklyn pilot can be proud of his efforts. Noah Belleville in the 41 wins this race. Shout out Grandma Jeannie, probably the biggest fan of car 41. He'll burn the house down. He'll celebrate. We're going to gather our top 3 in the podium. Fans at home, don't go anywhere. We're going to have Belleville, Prince, and Wright on the podium in just a moment. On the podium with our top three, starting with one of the Bluegrass Bandits, finishing in the bronze medal position, Mr. Briley Wright, holding it down. Briley, third place. Really, it was kind of just a one-man show tonight, but before that green flag run, you showed a lot of potential.
Yeah, just car fell off a little bit tighter than I really expected it to. I feel like the last couple of seasons we've been here, it didn't. I mean, it gets tight. Don't get me wrong, but it just seemed like the line that I typically run just was not there. I'm actually surprised that I even got to third. A little bit of the way that the pit stuff worked out, I was able to get me in front of Cody, and I just had to fend him off. And I tell you what, my neck hurts after the end of that race.
Well, I mean, hey,
That
nobody ever
last,
said
that
sim
last
racing
run
was easy on the
rough.
body, right? But, I mean, a bronze medal tonight, next week at Kansas. Is it going to be another podium?
I hope so. It's one of my better tracks. Hopefully to repeat, staying up here. I mean, my goal is just top fives, top threes, and Kansas is a good track that I think I can get another top three.
We'll see you next week at Kansas. Congratulations on third to our silver medalist and defending champion, Jacob Prince. What more did you need to catch up to Belleville? He was on a different planet tonight.
Really a caution about halfway to split up that run. I mean, I feel like there until the last half of that next to last run and then on, I was just so mentally and physically exhausted that I just kept on losing time. There for about a run and a half, I was able to make pace with them, but man, that feels like the hardest I've had to work in a sim race. So, and I've ran some really long races in my day, but just made too many mistakes tonight. But still a decent run. Consistency's key, so we'll just try to keep on being consistent.
You've got an average finish of second heading into next week's race, only 11 points behind the leader. Congratulations on silver. We'll see you in a week.
Yep, thank you.
The pride of DeSoto, Missouri, and Grandma Jeannie's #1 driver, Noah Belleville, on the top step for 2 weeks in a row. Aiden Norman got in the chat, and he gave you some stick about being part-time. Is this finally the season where you complete the TNT full pull? You're going to do all 16 races and try to win this title? Because it looks like that's where you're on course.
You know, it was only a matter of time before you asked me that question. I told you last year I was going to be full-time, and I stuck to it. But this year, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't decided. But for now, I'm just showing up every week because I can. I got nothing better to do. But
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Baldy. Appreciate it.
Hey, even if I told you I was full-time, you'd still probably think I was part-time. Let's be real here.
Well, if TNT is your B and your C plan, then yes, we're going to think you're full-time. In any case here, you end up on the top step with another win. So what, you really going to go for the hat trick next week at Kansas?
Yeah. Why not?
We'll see you at Kansas. Congratulations on the win, Moldy. We'll see you in a week.
Adios.
Fans at home, that's another fun chapter of racing. And thank you so much for playing along while we had my cats, my producers, I should say, in the chat tonight as well. So thank you so much for playing along. Thank you to Philip and Sebastian for being such good guests. Until that next race at Kansas, right here, Thursday night, 8:40 p.m. on Rick James TV. Until that next race, everybody stay safe. Take care of each other.